Yo, what's going on, believers? Happy Monday. Happy last day of July. So, we're just going to rock it out and look at the charts together this morning, get that final morning session of the month recorded, and see if it can give me any sort of clues for what's likely going to happen for the rest of the week, which, of course, then can kind of give some sort of a potential view of what may happen over the course of the month of August. So, took some time to read over the risk disclaimer. There is no important news today. There is this here at 8:45, which is inflation-related news though. So we'll be peeping around 8:45 for some volatility to pick up. But that's about it. Then get into the charts. So um, my main focus for today is going to be AU and Dow Jones or US 30. And so the cool thing about Dow Jones is it's actually in the same area that it was in on Friday. So I posted a video on Friday, which actually ended, I want to say somewhere about in here. And it did end up pushing up into the other 15-minute inefficiency. So I had them both marked, pushed up into the higher one, and I was able to get my drop out of there. My TP I was looking for was actually, I believe, either the bodies of these candles here. And so as you can see, it never quite got to that TP for me, but it has um offered from there, right, from 700 to 500, a 200 point range of opportunity, which I was able to capitalize on. So this inefficiency here, I can actually get rid of. It's just around equilibrium. So while price is interacting with it, I'm more so understanding that it's more attracted to the equilibrium of the range from high to low here than it was that particular, um, you know, 15-minute inefficiency. But as I drag this one out and seeing that it's been engaged today, and that was the catalyst for this drop that we're seeing now, as well as the dollar just showing lack of weakness. So it's not really showing me any strength per se, but it opened up with a gap lower, pushed through that gap, returned below that gap once again, but established some support here with this down closed candle. And now from there, right, just seeing the unwillingness to go lower is allowing for other assets like the US stock indices to move lower. US 30 is one of those US stock indices. And so this range, as you can see, I'm going to thicken the fib. So that range here from high to low, the black is the midpoint of it. As you can see, look at all the interaction at the midpoint of it. And then within the yellow lines, those are where I would anticipate some sort of a continuation lower if that was on the agenda for the price today, right? And so just wanted to highlight that. Main areas I'm watching: pink box, the Fibonacci range, and the dollar chart. Honestly, as far as these other levels from last week, I can get rid of some of them. So like this old buy side, actually this old buy side I actually keep because it's been holding pretty good. Besides this, which was on Thursday, as it kind of fucked around below it, running for this sell side. So got back above. It's been very interested in that level. As far as support bodies here, wick here, but this higher one, it has kind of been already overused and abused. So I'll get rid of this one, just try to clear up some real estate. So I'm not seeing a lot of stuff that I don't really need to be seeing. Give me a second. All right, and so I'm about to start a. Oh damn, this gonna suck. But no, I'm gonna start a Zoom real quick. Could let my homie in. Let's see. Do, and do that. All right. Um, you should be able to hear me. No, at least you should be able to see my screen. So, get back to what I was doing. So, my focus is Dow Jones right now. I like that it's still in the range from Friday, and I'm not expecting too much today though. But of course, just because I'm not expecting too much, don't mean that much won't happen. And so that drop right there, leaving the yellow shaded area, got below a few swing lows on the 15 minute right here, and engaged at 50% of that range from high to low here. So a nice reaction there, but that's still early within the candle. Seeing stuff like this just because it's the opening. So I'll drop down to the 5 minute here, and then I'll go over to the 15 on dollar. Just get a little bit closer inside view. So dollar hitting that level there, which is I believe from the daily. Yeah, so there's a inversion daily fair value gap that has been interacting with since the end of last week. So as you can see, Thursday and Friday engaged that level, and then so far already today. Well, even Sunday, right? And then coming into Monday, Monday's already engaged this level several times as well. So a lot of interest in this range. So it's definitely something that I'm watching personally to see if dollar will have the strength to get above there. If not, then I will expect bullishness in the U.S. stock indices, gold, AU, GU, EU, stuff like that. Um, and then while it's still doing all of this stuff, this is nothing I can use right now. I'll just show what I'm talking about. I already showed this in the last video I printed. I uploaded, but for the dollar chart, this is the fib that I'm watching for dollar. So let me thicken it real quick. All right, all those thick ass lines, that's for the fib. Also, this hourly fair value gap right here, which is tapped into again. Now, it did close above it here, but what I've mentioned before is if it closes above or below one of my inefficiencies that I have marked up, but then immediately closes back in the very next candle, I don't really count that as a valid breakout. So as you can see, so far using the Fibonacci range, respecting that 70.5%, drop down to the 50 and really just consolidating here. Although it's getting volatile, it ain't really went nowhere yet. So it's still, like I said, not a day for me to really anticipate too much. Might try to catch a little scalp once I can get a sense of the direction on dollar. I'm not 100% convinced that it's going to continue lower from here. But if this candle in the next 25 minutes can violate these swing lows right here and get below this low without rejecting, then I have no doubt in my mind it may want to run these lows here. But if it keeps playing around at 50%, then it's just kind of gonna be a very choppy day, I would imagine. And I don't want to be fucking around on choppy days. So this is just a perspective on the hourly, and then also from the daily high to low for July. Let's come back up to the 50% of the range. Several levels up in here that could act as resistance, mainly from the weekly chart, the midpoint of this weekly fair value gap that is sitting just under right now. So most likely going to confirm the high from Friday as a swing high, which will also give me something to work with for the rest of the week too. But so that's where it's at right now. Like I said, I'm not really convinced about anything just yet. So still need some time to just let some candles print and give me some data. Man, I caught a UJ buy yesterday. I got out with like 50 pips, but then it went up a whole nother 100 since I got out. So I got in around here, around the green, and I TP'd at the white. Look at how much it's gone since. Like, jeez, man. UJ be moving from the start of the week too, at a little retracement to start the week, and then pow. It's crazy stuff. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But that's why I like UJ. That's exactly why I added UJ to my list. Cause I already know. I needed me a pair that move in Asia, so that if I'm gonna be trading Asia, at least I can make it make sense. Stop trying to trade fucking Nasdaq and US 30 in Asia because they don't move in Asia, not how I like them to. Sometimes they will, but they not gonna move like UJ will for me most of the time. So I'm gonna just fuck with UJ for sure. I found my Asian pair, and I been knew that. I knew that from Daryl. This is the futures contract for Dow Jones, which is US 30. So YM is for Dow Jones, NQ is Nasdaq, ES is for S&P. So them the different symbols. So like when I go this Nasdaq, and then this SPX. But yeah, YM. I know I had yeah. This is what I was telling people about the transition to using the futures charts. That was a whole thing within itself of like new learning for me. It was like wait, hold on. Like I spent the whole year damn near just looking at the different CFD charts. Like US 30 for me before, like I said, was the CFD chart. You see how I say CFD right here? Index CFD, index CFD, index CFD, index CFD, index CFD, right? It's CFD stands for contract for difference. So that's what they call those. Those aren't the like actual real futures contract, which is right when you see how I type in YM, she has a E mini Dow futures. So like again, I'm not well versed in this. I'm not a financial right fucking expert or advisor or consultant or whatever, but just from what I heard from ICT and what I've looked up myself, that the futures charts are the more official data feed. Like they come from the Chicago Board of Trade. That's what CBOT means, Chicago Board of Trade. You see. So these are like the official numbers. Those other CFD numbers are like from different brokers and stuff like that. So they're supposed to follow the futures chart. That's essentially what their contracts prices are supposed to do. The exact numbers don't need to match, but for the most part, the structure and the amount of movement and stuff like that is supposed to match. But yeah, that was a whole nother experience right there of learning that I had to jump down that rabbit hole, read shit, fucking get confused using these at first, like the switching of the contracts every quarter because it's a new contract every quarter. So I think in August or September I'll be switching from YMU to I believe it's YMZ. And yeah, yeah. So you see, YMZ is gonna be the December contract. So that's the last quarter contract. So once this one expires, the YMU, then I go to YMZ. And so yeah, it was weird as fuck. I was like, wait a minute, I gotta do all this extra shit. But because of the different gaps and stuff I was showing you that I get to see using this, I was like, oh yeah, it's worth that $5. Like show me all the extra data that I can see to make a high quality trade. Like give me that. Shit. I need all of it. I ain't turning down no information that's gonna help me make money. Like that just don't sit right with me. Like, wait, you telling me that even if like I just, you know what I'm saying, lend my ear to this or my eyes to it for a couple of minutes, a couple of hours, it might make me some money. Like, okay, yeah. I got time for that. I always got time for that. Especially this type of money. Money I can make in my sleep. Oh yeah. Especially this type of money. But all right, so I'm gonna go now, get nitty gritty. I'm gonna drop down to the smaller time frames because this really, like I said, this ain't helping me at all. The reason I don't go to the smaller time frame too soon though, this is US 30. YM is US 30, but this is what. All right, so it's choppy on the lower time frames before the opening. That's why I don't like being on the lower time frames with the futures chart. And I know now. Watch this. If I go to US 30, if I go to the Oanda one, it's probably gonna look better as far as the lower time frame. Yeah, because they don't show all the real gaps on here. They just following that, but they don't want to put gaps on here because people are gonna probably be like, "What the fuck? Where these gaps come from?" And it's probably gonna confuse them actually trying to follow it literally verbatim, like them manipulating their market to trade just like the futures one does and include all those gaps. People probably won't fuck with them. So it's definitely smart on their part to make it look more smooth. But as you can see, there is a difference, right? Like this looks a little bit smoother than what I was showing you on the futures contract. You see how it's got all those gaps in between the candles and like barely anybody's on some of them, but they got wicks. So it's ugly structure that I don't like to deal with until the open. Once the open starts, then it starts to smooth out a little bit. As far as now, looking at the 1 minute, ugly as fuck. But then as soon as it opens, right now it's starting to give me smooth candles. Some more volatility, more volume in here. So I do like to mark up my 8:30 to 9:30 range, though also so that I know within that hour window, I should already have some sort of idea of what's going on. If it take longer than that, it's usually a problem. And so, yeah, let me just get nitty gritty because if it's gonna be one of those choppy type of days, it's gonna be where the lower time frame gonna get the best opportunities, but still using the high time frame levels. I got all my levels that I'm using today marked up though already, so every single line could be a entry or a TP basically. Um, and so the one thing I will say, the drop below here, it happened right before the opening at 8:30, but then the 8:30 was a continuation push, and so this is something that I would do here is, and I guess I'm a little bit late doing it, but it is what it is to put this here just to indicate that that low was taken out, right? And then I would like to see ideally if it's gonna continue lower for it to stay below there and any sort of resistance points that it made. And so it did make a potential resistance, like I said, right before the 8:30 in the form of this fair value gap here. Again, it's using one of those ugly ass candles, right? So I'm not a huge fan of it, but look at how it was interacting inside of that range until just a minute ago it finally was able to close outside of it. And so now what I'll do is, because I consider this, whereas it ran lows, so it took some sell side liquidity and it broke a support. I mean, it broke a resistance, right? So now I can come in here and I can use the Fibonacci again, or even just the this GAN box just to measure out the 50%. So I want, if I'm gonna get in for a buy, right, I want it to be at 50% or below. Ideally, that's just like for me personally. Like from my experience, if I got a range measured out, the best buys always happen underneath 50%. Now, once in a while, it'll be like just so bullish or so bearish that it won't even get back to 50%. But then sometimes it'll break higher one more time, and then it'll make that drive down into that 50% and then go. And that's like basically like running a stop. So anybody that did get in early, then right, it push, they excited, and then they trail, whatever, it runs them. And now most people are scared to get back in, to be honest. Um, but that's why I'm trying to be more patient. So let all the fuck shit happen, and then me just follow my rules. My rules say I should be buying below 50% of the range I'm looking at. I shouldn't be buying at the high because I'm gonna be looking stupid if it do come back down on me. I'm like, damn, I told myself to wait till it come down to 50%, but I was thirsty and I got in up here because I thought I might miss it, and that's that fear of missing out. That's what I'm saying. It's not always a fear of losing money. It could be something like this where price is moving, and now there's that, oh, I'm gonna miss the move. Let me get in, and then jumping in there, and then it retraces to where it should retrace to get a good entry, and then it keeps going, and possibly I done closed out with a loss unnecessarily for whatever reason. And that low key happened with me on UJ yesterday. I just full transparency. So real quick, let me show that. I think it was on a 15 minute that I was looking at it. Man, relax, bro. Relax. Look with UJ, like I was saying. So yesterday, I wanted to see it come down to the green line. I start getting in the brown box though. I was impatient, and so I was in all this drawdown. Ended up closing at a loss when it got to this low here. And when I saw I was respecting that low, I got back in, and then I was able to catch it to the white. And so I got out on this candle, and then as you can see, it just continued. But it didn't come down to the 50 either yet. I don't know. That's why I'm not sure what you looking at, but I ain't came down to the 50 yet, bro. Yeah. No, I went. I pulled up UJ. I pulled up UJ real quick. Yeah, I pulled up UJ. And I'm loving the weakness that I'm seeing in the dollar. So this, as far as like allowing for other things to be bullish right now, if I was looking for buys in anything, this would be where I'm like, okay, I should be in that buy. on it because the dollar is sliding like it's sliding. But of course, those individual assets have ranges and levels and stuff too that make the most sense to be getting in. So just cause the dollar is selling, I'm not just gonna go to like EU and just press buy, for example. Like, I'm gonna still go and make sure I get in at a valid entry. But the rejection from up here happened right at 820, and then this run down to these lows and the rejection. The only way for 30 I can say I would have been able to catch this was literally just me anticipating that 50% here, because this is 50% of another range. Like I said, this that Fibonacci 50% right here, where it dropped down into and rejected, and so still staying as a continuation. So that would have for my markup would have been the best case scenario, honestly, for entry. But I did have a little bit of a late start today. I wasn't even gonna get up for real. Like, I was gonna just chill in the bed and just watch. To be honest, I wasn't really planning on being a part of nothing. But then I thought to myself, the days when I think ain't shit gonna happen, the wildest shit be happening. And so I was like, all right, let me get my ass up. And so here I am. But so as you can see, so look, is use this pink area here as support. So resistance, right? Broke it, tapped down into it as support. It has expanded this range, so I'm just keep following it. But this could definitely be one of those days where this motherfucker, like I said, I'm not expecting much, but it could just be one of those days where I do some crazy shit. And I've accepted that those days are gonna happen. There's nothing for me to do during those days, right? Like, I can't let my emotions fear missing out, cause damn, I'm gonna fuck around and do some dumb shit, and I can't let myself like try to take the reversal of it at every time it starts to potentially retrace or whatever. I gotta be patient and just keep measuring out the range. That's what's worked best for me, because it's still a whole lot of morning left. Now, ideally, I don't want to be here too long. That's what I'm saying. Like, catching it down here would have been best case scenario, to be honest. But there's still no entry signal down here for me. This would have been like a me let me get in and see what happens type shit, because it hit that 50%. And that literally what this play would have been. There's no reference point here for me to have gotten in inside of here, except for that 50%, you know? So, other than that, it's just one of those days where it's like either it's gonna come and retrace and allow me for entry with dollar continuing, or because I'm still looking at this as a potential resistance range, right? From this high down to this low, it never broke out of that range yet. It's still in the part of it where I would expect it to be difficult to keep going higher. So if the dollar finds support, and let me pull up the dollar over here real quick to look at that. So the lower this shaded area could be support for the dollar, because this was supposed to be bearish. It already closed above it, and so that kind of invalidated it being bearish. And then so as it drops back into it, this is the low of the week right here. It's looking like it's coming up on the low of the week. So right there, it already did actually. So if this acts as support with just under 9 minutes left to go in this hour, if the dollar is unable to close below here, right, with some momentum, show a willingness to keep going lower, and it starts to consolidate here, or even like just keep flirting with moving higher in this range, that alone would be enough to allow for a drop. So that's why I'm saying it's so much uncertainty today. It's the last day of the month. Dollar not really giving no real indication of what it's gonna do, in my opinion. It looks super bearish right now, I'm about to say, but at this point, everything done already, lifted off a little bit, and would be a little bit late to the party getting in. Let me just cycle through. So SPX been bullish. Just the hourly chart for everything, right? So SPX been bullish this whole hour. Look at that candle, right? Drop down, but return higher. Nasdaq still low key kind of bearish. 30, just like SPX, right? Drop down, bullish again. That's gold bullish. This another gold feed bullish. AU bullish. EU same thing like S&P and Dow Jones dropped down, recovered. EU bullish, and then CAD dropping with dollar, and UJ should be dropping with dollar, but not exactly. It went higher and then it rejected. So them all the pairs I'll be watching. And as you can see, the best buy opportunity available was in gold. I say for sure, gold the only one that done really made up a whole lot of ground to the upside so far, um, without dropping too much lower first. But how the dollar closes at this level is going to be really important. So I'm gonna transfer this level over to this feed so I can be aware of it over here. That's the level that I'm really need to be watching right now. This low right here. Then I want to see that on every time frame. Then go back down to the 15 minute. And so less than 7 minutes to go. I want to see this 15-minute candle, right, either violate this low or the next one engage it also and reject. So we know one of those two things. And then I'm gonna leave this. This is I just don't like again. They referenced right candles before 8:30, so it is kind of ugly. I'm gonna find one on the 5 minute. Hopefully they got one on the 5 minute. Yes, they do. Thank God. All right, so I'm gonna use this one because this is cleaner, rather than that 1 minute one. I'm just stretch this across, and then this would be a good reference point for. As you can see, it's higher than the original one, but because it's from a 5 minute, it's stronger. And as you can see, so even with the 1 minute, bumped into it, rejected, and then we finally closed above it here. Same thing, found support on it. One more push higher, but overall, below this low, right? Anybody that's in buys probably got trail stop loss below this low, so that's liquidity there. And then this white dash line could be somewhere it might try to dig into, which is right below the 50. So at this white dash line right here, I would be willing to take an entry here. As long as, like I said, I want to see that dollar though. I want to see it close below here, to be honest. For me to be looking for a continuation bias. So I'll be looking like this. And then my SL would essentially just be below these lows. I wouldn't expect it to do anything too crazy, but if it does, right, come down here and take out these lows, I would definitely want to wait for some more information first. See it break a resistance first, but then my target would just be on some light, taking it up to that highest fib level that I have. But if I wanted to be fancy, I could target the high. It is 15-minute fair value gap because it never fully closed it in. So I could just target the little space in between this high and the high, the fair value gap also. Basically this. If I want to just put the line at this high, I could just target that old high also, right? And that'd be like a TP as well. So put that there, then boom, back to the one. So it could either target this yellow, or like I said, up here to the blue. It's only like a little 10-point difference between the two, but still, yeah, it's like a 10-point difference. So wow. So right there, if I wanted to buy, right, that would be the best case scenario initially is hitting one of my reference points below 50%. But look at how aggressive that came. That's why I'm like, if it come down to these lows, I need some more information. Definitely looking like it's more than likely going to come for those lows. So this is why I stopped doing pending orders too, based off a lower time frame structure. Like off a high time frame structure, some swing trades that I'm not going to be watching for real. I'll do a pending order and it is what it is with them type of setups. But if I can control it by me being there, able to see the minute by minute price action, then I can completely control my risk reward, in a sense. Because so okay, let's see how that already invalidates this idea. So that's why I was like, all right, let me wait for it to now show me that it wants to break back above a resistance level after it trades to a support. So a potential support obviously is old lows, right? So it took out this low, it hit the 50% of the range, and now it's dug into these lows here. So it's dropped into three support levels. I want to see now it showed me a willingness to break a resistance, right? And then I will be willing to get back. Well, I'll be willing to get in for a buy. But I haven't taken anything yet. But you see how this low on dollar, you see how it's rejected from it with less than 3 minutes left. So that's why my right hand man over here, man, like at certain highs and lows, certain ranges and shit like that, how it responds is so important because it looked like, oh yeah, just buy whatever I'm trying to buy, right? Because dollar bearish, but it hit that low and reject. Short term, it might go into a deep retracement on what I was trading. So I'm in a buy and I'm over here in deep profit on 30. Let's say I did get in down here. I'm in deep profit holding for my TP. And then all of a sudden it turned around. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? And then I look at the dollar chart and I'm like, oh, the dollar just traded below a low and rejected. Wow. Like literally, bro, I'm telling you, this like the time that I've seen this shit happen, that's why it's like can't nobody teach experience. Experience is always the best teacher. Like the time I put in seeing this shit is why I know what I'm saying works and what I'm saying don't work and shit. Cause I've literally seen this shit so many fucking times. Like beat myself up doing the opposite of what I told myself to do, which is if I see something like this, take a partial at the very least if I'm gonna buy it, right? So I can lock in something up here before something like this happen and then piss me the fuck off, which is exactly what it would have did if I was in a buy down here and I put my stop in profit, and all this profit and I didn't take a partial. And I don't trail. I'm not. I That's never something that's probably gonna be a big part of my trading. Like I don't trail, but I'll put my shit at break even and take partials for sure. Cause I'm trying to catch the whole move if I can. If I know if I trail, especially if I trail anywhere above 50%, I know they're gonna come get me. The range that is created, if I trail above 50% and I'm gonna buy, is I deserve to be taken out. Basically, that's how I think about it. It's like because I'm not even allowing it room to breathe or to retrace at all. Which is I know the market retraces all the time. It expands and retraces and consolidates and reverses. Them the only four things. So but yeah, you see what I'm saying though? It's like this one of those days where it's gonna be difficult because this was FOMO. I'm sure FOMO was here. Was like, fuck, I'm about to miss this buy. And then no, I'm just saying. I'm saying in general. I'm saying in general though to most traders. Yep. Well, to help out, this reference here is like I said, this is all still resistance up here. Remember, that's why I had to. I went back to the 15 again to just to remind, like, and to I'll thicken this to two. All of these lines in here that I just thicken are potential resistance points as well. That's why I was saying too, like, I know that dollar is dropping, but unless it commit below this low, this is very possible. And then boom, look at that retracement. It didn't take out the low, so the range overall is still valid. And it may just want to keep playing around at that 50. So we may see it work its way back up to that 50 before it breaks this low. And it may fuck around with that brown box and the white line, right? It might just kind of be up and down in that area. Because you know how 30 can be bogus and choppy sometimes before it ever makes a move, or it might just be bogus and choppy all day. So that's why it's like my attention was here because it's still in the same range that it was on Friday. I feel like it'd be easier since I already had reference points that I knew what they meant, right? Support or resistance in a sense. I didn't have to like get too much information from price to establish resistance or support for my levels, right? I just understand if it's below it, working its way up to one of those levels I had, for sure got to be careful of resistance there. And if it's above working way down, right, I have to be just aware that okay, that could act as support here, which is mostly just the 50%. Right, that's like the biggest support I'd say. And then all the old lows. So the 50% of the range and then the old lows, but and then 50% of a range is the best TP. Like from right here, how it's showing the unwillingness to go lower, like a little scalp just up to there. It's only 15 points, but that would be something that I would be willing to entertain, just because of the fact that. Well, okay, now I will say this too. I'm liking that the dollar's coming back down, right? So I'm seeing the dollar coming back down. I'm seeing this drop down to the low end of the range, right? It hit what? It hit one of my levels, the 50% of that range, just like it did here, and it rejects like this, gives me a nice bullish candle, gives me a down close candle to then formulate the potential idea of it running out the high of this because if it's bullish, it's going to violate down close candles, right? And so targeting that 50% of the range from somewhere up in here, that would have been a nice little 10, 15 points right there. Easy little TP, low hanging fruit, just targeting 50%. It didn't quite get there yet, but I wouldn't be surprised, like I said, if it works this 50%, eventually getting into that brown again too. And looking at the dollar chart, right back at that low with a brand spanking new 15-minute candles with over 12 minutes to go. So if this candle can smash through there, then I would anticipate some upside, push. on the shit that I'm watching. Today, mostly US 30, but if I scan NASDAQ, it's been a little bit more difficult. SPX is also, to be honest. So all the indices not looking all the best today. Like I said, gold would have been the best buy, to be honest. Gold was for certain the winner chicken dinner today for the buy, even though it's retracing now. So, but initially gold was the best buy, and I think USD CAD was the best sale. Yeah, gold was the best buy. USD CAD was the best sale. And so boom, there go dollar sliding through that level with some momentum. Now officially, if TP was at that 50%, it would have got smacked for sure, even with the spread, right? And then it also does tap that brown box and reject off the first tap. So, and that's this. I'm already knowing today definitely not a day for me to be pressing the button, but today is a very important day for me to be studying. Because these type of days is the days that I need to ideally be just taking quick scalps and be done, or completely avoid. Because I don't like dealing with all of this uncertainty. I want to have like a higher time frame level I'm thinking price gonna get to that will kind of override all the lower time frame levels that it needs to break through before it gets there. And I don't have that today, right? It's the last day of the month. There's no real reference points to use because if we look at the daily perspective on everything, and let me just take the drawings off, right? So we just look at the chart real quick. So the daily, look at this. Sideways on SPX, sideways on NASDAQ, sideways on US 30. So it's like I really don't have nothing to work with as far as high time frame levels except for the previous day's high and low. You know what I'm saying? Like them could be levels that I'm working with, but they got a lot of smaller time frame levels, right, that they got to break through to get there. And this isn't that significant since there's been a consolidation, in my opinion, to be the catalyst for it breaking out today, especially without news and shit. But so there go another push into the brown above the 50%, right? So just working within his range right here, real solid. I mean, obviously, at this point, I'm gonna look at the 5 minute and see does it still make sense to keep this brown shaded area in there? Not really, in my opinion. So I'm gonna get rid of that, and then I can start to focus on the lower time frame ones that are still here. So, for example, this fair value got here, the high end of that as far as a target, right? It may want to fill in this fair value gap. So as far as if I was taking a buy, even from this yellow line here, let's say I closed out that first buy, TP smack, and I'm still seeing a continuation with the weakness in dollar. Another buy at the yellow, targeting the top of the pink. That's a nice little 15, 20 point move right there. Like, so lots of opportunity, but that's what I'm saying is like I still need to make it make sense for myself to get into the charts and be doing it like this. You know, where I'm like literally taking these trades that's only lasting like a minute or two and I'm only getting 15, 20 points and I'm having a confidence that like I'm going to win more than I'm going to lose today doing this. Like, and once I feel like I got that confidence, cause there's no confirmation here. You see what I'm saying? Like when I'm trading in a small range like this, ain't no way no confirmation, nigga. It's like either I got the confidence that I know what I'm doing and that my levels is on point and that where I'm thinking that it could go based off of what I'm seeing is on point, then I just got to get in. Like I can't wait for it to go towards that level and then get in because I'm gonna get caught up in a retracement or I'm gonna miss out on points, and I'm already looking for just a handful of points at this point. We talking about US 30, 10 to 20 points. Like that's criminal, but on a day like today, that's what it's offering to me. Cause I don't want to be in nothing too long, right? I don't want to be in a trade thinking, oh, it's gonna go take out the high from yesterday. Like it might fuck around this range all day, right? So if I'm trying to get paid today, I gotta trade accordingly. So that's why I know it's gonna be some days where it make a lot of sense for me to just take one entry and hold that bitch and not even look no more because I'm expecting it to push to a weekly or monthly level. But then there's some days where it's like I don't really have any high time frame reference points for it to run to, so it might just chop around in the range. If it's chopping around the range, them the days I want to scout. I low key looking for a drop in AU, so I do want to see bullishness from dollar. To be honest, so I am liking seeing another rejection from that low. Because I want to see AU drop out this range, man. Like, so it's got this daily fair value gap right here that it created when Friday closed. It's traded into it today, so I want to see it drop up out of there, to be honest. And then it's also got this old weekly fair value gap here that is also now repriced all the way back to the top of it. So I would love to see AU slide about this bitch, to be honest. I'm definitely try to catch me an entry once it break out the low end here. Probably on like a retest on a lower time frame real quick. Catch me an entry there for the sell back down on AU. But and it's a whole brand new hour though. So as I was showing, it's the 15-minute rejecting. What I got to keep in mind is that that's the first 15 minutes of an hour candle. So there's gonna be three more 15-minute candles that had the opportunity to smoke that level coming. So gotta keep that in mind. But so far though, I mean, as we can see, short term bullish again, right? But as far as any sort of a long term right target is non-existent right now. There's just play the range and the levels is provided now, and then if it's able to get a close outside of this pink area, right? Then the next fair value gap, I won't color it pink. I'll just use the lines. And then this range here, right? That's the next fair value gap on the 1 minute that I'll be looking for. And so that range is like 10 points alone from the low to the high of that fair value gap is 10 points in itself. So if it's able to get up to that and right find some sort of support, it's a potential little 10 point push getting in at the low and then targeting the high. And so far, it's still finding support inside the yellow. I'm inside the pink box on this yellow. So broke it here, support, support. So that also again just be like I gotta be. This is where my reaction skills come in. It's like I'm seeing it hit my fucking level when I'm expecting it to potentially push higher. I just gotta pop. I can't be like, let me see it reject first, because now I'm missing out on 10 points because I wanted to see it reject first. So that's what I'm saying. Like the anticipatory skills and the reactionary skills combined. But the thing that really most important to me is confidence. Is having the confidence that I know what the fuck I'm doing, and that if I put a level on my chart and I'm seeing a certain opportunity for it to go somewhere, I just got to get in, and then I gotta give it a few seconds, a few minutes, right, to see what price gonna do from that level. No, exactly. I mean, I was only looking for remember below it is 50%, but I did say that if it knocked these lows out, that it's probably gonna reach for these lows. It reached for those lows, but it stopped at the 50, so it never got to them. Cause this was the other 50. This the higher time frame 50. This the 15-minute 50 right here, and this the 1 minute 50 right here. So it smoked the 1 minute 50. That's why I was saying I don't do pending orders on the 1 minute structure no more. But on the 15-minute structure or above, I could do a pending order. So this definitely would have been valid by opportunity right here. And that was a nice little 50 points in those few minutes from then. A nice little 50 points higher right there. But here's the thing. So like I said, it's the first 15 minutes though of this hour. If the first 15 minutes smoke this level already, I would anticipate continuation lower for the rest of the hour. Especially if like one of the next two candles comes up and fails to get back above it, right? Like it makes an attempt to maybe even throws a wick above it, but then closes back below it too. I feel like that'd be a really good sign there. And so here, yellow held short term failed, right? But then now, okay, boom, hits the white, another rejection. But still, this whole pink shaded area is a fair value gap, though, right? So this is what I'm saying. This it's a difficult day, where it's like it's really hard to get any sort of read, right? Because now looking at the dollar is showing commitment through the level, but now 30 want to fuck around. And then let me just scan again. So okay, Nasdaq actually behaving. Nasdaq found these lows, right? Found support down here, and it's just been a nice and steady push the whole hour so far. No deep retracements yet. It's like 30 is doing. Same thing with S&P. So they actually pretty chill. 30 doing the most right now. but I ain't no problem with that. All right, gang. And what I'm gonna do is I will at this point in the recording, um, got to see my analysis before the fact and just how I'm going about trying to be helpful to other people in this space by just being realistic and transparent about the risks and about some of the struggles that I've personally dealt with in my journey. And my goal is to try to just help the process be faster for anybody that, you know, gets any sort of value from me. That's like the value I hope to provide is the process being faster from zero to hero in this business. And so, like I said, not a day in which I was expecting much off the open. Did get some volatility, right? Still some volatility in the marketplace for sure. Still plenty of day left for sure. It's only 9:15 almost Central Time. So the markets don't close for another, 6, 7 hours or so. So plenty of movement will still be happening. It may actually be a more smooth afternoon session to trade where the structure and stuff like that is a little bit easier to get some sort of a drawn liquidity based on right what happened in the morning session, because what happened overnight so far wasn't very useful in my opinion. All of this in here is just kind of working its way higher, so without some sort of a bullish push in dollar, I wouldn't really be expecting it to make that run on these lows. But as soon as the dollar does, if it does, right, um start breaking resistance and finding support, then I will start to potentially look for a run below the lows that make up this. This could be a trend line. Trend line could definitely be applied here. So then I'll be looking for those lows to be taken out, type of situation. But with that being said, though, I hope that this little snippet of my live analysis on the lower time frame and the reasonings and things like that I have, hope they were able to, bring some value to you. And so if they were, like, comment, subscribe. Y'all be safe. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.